Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon I'm going to give you my reaction to the Europa League draw. Manchester United have drawn Club Brugge in the last 32 of the Europa League. The first leg is on the 20th of February at Jan Bredel Stadium, and on the 27th of February the second leg is at Old Trafford. So you can quite frankly say, we have got an easy tie, against Club Brugge. I'll give you some of the other draw as well. Arsenal got Olympiacos, Rangers got Brugge, Celtic got Copenhagen, Wolves I think got Espanyol, and there's quite a lot of others that have been drawn, but obviously I can't remember all of them. But like I've said on my recent videos, I definitely do believe we are good enough to win the Europa League. Obviously we did it a couple of years ago under the Jose Mourinho era. We beat Ajax in the final by 2 goals to 0. But we are obviously now into the knockout stage, like I said. We progressed there, by winning Group L. We obviously won 4 games out of 6 in the group stage, registered 13 points from a possible 18. But I definitely think we are good enough to win it. Club Brugge are from Belgium. Obviously the last time we played them I think was back in 2015, so I think it was like around 4 years ago now. We did beat them by 4 goals to 0. Club Brugge are sitting top of their league at the moment. They're doing really, really well. They're 18 or is it 19 games into their season. They've won 14 games out of around 18. They've drawn 3 and lost 1. But I do believe, we will, get into the last 16 of the competition, definitely, because I think, we'll beat Club Brugge over the 2 legs quite comfortably. So just wanted to give you an update on that. But, I've got to say I was very, very disappointed with the result yesterday. Against Everton, very, very disappointed because I went into that game, with a lot of confidence, thinking, we was going to win that game because obviously, we went into that game yesterday, with back-to-back wins against Man City, Tottenham. We also beat AZ Alkmaar on Thursday in the Europa League. So I thought, we'd have, beaten Everton, quite comfortably. And, it's also disappointing because, we missed out on that chance of closing the gap on that top 4. If we'd have beaten Everton, we would have only been now 2 points behind Chelsea. And like I've said, I think it's very imperative that we do get that top 4 this season so we can secure Champions League football. We drew the game and, it was 1-1. I think we've drawn too many games this season because I think, the games, with some of the games we've drawn this season, arguably, we should have won them. We should have won yesterday, arguably. We should have beaten Sheffield United, even though we didn't play particularly well in that game. Obviously we had a good 10-minute spell. We should have beaten Wolves early on this season. We should have beaten Southampton. So we have dropped too many points this season. But we still are only 4 points behind top 4. So I won't fully disregard it. I know I fully disregarded it around 3 or 4 weeks ago because I was very, very sceptical, that we was going to get that top 4. But we are 6 in the league. But like I've said, I don't think it was I don't think it was a really bad performance yesterday because I thought there was periods in the game, where we dominated. We had the vast majority of the possession. There was a lot of chances created in the game. Lingard, should have scored after 15 seconds. Rashford, could have had a few. He had some big chances in the game. I thought Anthony Martial did quite well. You know, so there was actually, some good individual performances yesterday, in the game and that, and there was no excuse anywhere because we rested a lot of key players in the game against AZ Alkmaar. So obviously they were prepared for the game against Everton, but like I said, Everton, they've also enjoyed a really difficult start to the season. Everton. You know, they've obviously recently, recommended Duncan Ferguson in on an interim basis. I don't think, he wants to take the job permanently though, does Duncan Ferguson, you know. But he's had you can say he's enjoyed a good start to his managerial tenure. With Everton and that. He knows Everton well, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently revealed. But I think Everton obviously have got a few managers on their agenda anyway who could replace Marco Silva. Obviously, there's been talks of Ancelotti going there. He's also been linked with a managerial role at Arsenal because Ancelotti was sacked by Napoli last Tuesday, despite the fact Napoli progressed to the knockout stages of the Champions League by beating Gent 4-0. There's also been talks of Moyes possibly reuniting with Everton. Obviously, there were a lot of speculation about Emre going to Everton, but reportedly he turned down the Everton job and he's turned down a few Chinese clubs. But like I said, it was a very, very disappointing result. Obviously, Everton's goal, came from the own goal from Victor Lindelof, and I think Victor Lindelof is struggling. He's struggling. Is Victor Lindelof, and at the moment, anyway, I think he's done well in the vast majority of his time so far with Man United. He wasn't so good in his first season, but I thought he improved in his second season. He's done well for the vast majority of this season, but recently has been very, very poor. It was good to see, Mason Greenwood, come off the bench, yet again, getting his name on the score sheet. It was a lovely goal, lovely assist by Daniel James. Mason Greenwood's in scintillating form. 3 goals in his last 2 games, 1 goal yesterday against Everton, 2 against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League. Mason Greenwood is now on 7 senior goals so far this season. The vast majority of his goals have come in the Europa League. He scored 2 of the goals in the Premier League and I think 1 in the League Cup. But I think now, Solskjaer needs to start playing Mason Greenwood he needs to start playing him more on a regular basis because Solskjaer knows that it's becoming harder, to leave him on the bench. So, do you think he'd be a better solution than Anthony Martial? Should we play him over Anthony Martial? And that is the question. But I think as Greenwood develops more, he obviously will get better. But he was obviously nowhere to our rescue. But we just haven't been good enough this season. We've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years, and obviously for the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer has been under intense pressure at the football club. Especially before the Tottenham game. But obviously, the wins against Tottenham and Man City, you've got to say, they've arguably saved his managerial tenure at the football club. And we've had some good games under the Solskjaer era so far. We was good against City. Probably that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best game so far during his Man United managerial career. We did well against Tottenham. We did well against Alkmaar on Thursday. We've beaten the big teams this season. We've done well against the big teams this season. We got a draw out of Liverpool. Should have won that game. We're the only team this season anyway to take many points from Liverpool. We also beat Leicester. We beat Chelsea at the beginning of the season. So we've done well against elite opposition this season. But like I've said on my recent videos, we've got to replicate this against lower opposition. And we're struggling to beat lower opposition. But we seem to rise our game against the elite opposition, to be fair. But we're 17 games now into the Premier League season, so these still 21 games remaining. So there's still plenty of time for us to turn things around. Like I've said, I've given my perception on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He isn't the right manager for Manchester United. He isn't a long-term solution for the football club. So I think we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. I think we need to get rid of Ed Woodward. I think we also need to get rid of our current board because they've been a liability for several years. I still believe we've got to get rid of more players because I think, there is problematic players at Manchester United that do need to be moved on next year. Another 4 or 5 more players need to go. So we also need to focus on the outgoings. It's very imperative next year that we do, recruit the right calibre players to the football club. And, there is a lot of players on our agenda. But I think, we need to recommend at least 5 to 6 more signings in, if we are to be back to being a competitively level football club. And next year, we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. We've got to get a couple of attacking midfielders in. a couple of midfielders in because we need to reinvest in that midfield. I think, we also need to get a couple of attackers in. We need someone to come in, who can assure us goals. I think it would be beneficial as well, if we could, recommend another number 9 in, someone who can bring more players into play, and all that. So that's beneficial. We also need a right winner, and there's possibly other areas in the squad as well that do need to be addressed. But I said we need to sack Solskjaer now, but I'm very sceptical, that we will sack Solskjaer at this present time. Because don't forget, recently the board did say they're determined to back him in the next couple of windows. Because I think the board realised during the course of the summer that, they didn't back him enough. And I credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that aspect anyway, because he did recommend 3 good signings into the squad during the summer. We spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. And I've got to say, the 3 signings, they've been our best players this season, so you've got to say they haven't been accountable for any of our bad performances or any of our bad results. But it was good during the summer that we did address some of the problematic areas. So I was very, very delighted about that. But it's not long now anyway until the January transfer window opens. Like I updated you on my video I did this morning. Solskjaer is set to be handed a spending spree of around £250 million to rebuild the club. And I've got to say, £250 million probably, will get us around 3 or 4 players in, depending on, how we are with our recruitment and that. Because, we're going to overpay for players. Are we going to be sensible with our recruitment? Because, with our recruitment has been, like I said, very poor, not only recently, but for several years. And, we've overpaid for players in recent years. But I think Solskjaer's confirmed anyway, he wants to recommend Galactico players in. But it's not all about, getting Galactico players in. And obviously, it's been it's not, guaranteed that, we will make many signings in January. But I think Solskjaer's orchestrating on bringing, 2 or 3 players into the football club in January. But I want him out of the football club. And I even said after the wins against Tottenham, Man City and Alkmaar, a good couple of results doesn't change my perception regarding Solskjaer. And as you all know, I have got element of concerns about him. There is some aspects of me, that do credit him. My element of concerns I've got about Solskjaer, he's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. Maybe in some games, we've showed tactical flexibility, but in the vast majority of the games, we've been tactically naive. He doesn't really have a style of play, which is obviously an element of concern. He doesn't really have a plan B. And overall, anyway, I just don't think he's got any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United. He hasn't got it, because he hasn't really got a pedigree behind him in terms of management. Like I've said on my recent videos, whether his managerial tenure at Manchester United works out or not, we'll never forget, what he's done for the football club, because he was a great player for us for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, but I just don't think he's good enough as a manager. Recently it said, Ed Woodward is determined to stand by Solskjaer. Obviously the board are willing to back him. The vast majority of our players have still got faith in him. And obviously Solskjaer recently held negotiations with Joe Glazer. And Joe Glazer's obviously assured that his job is safe. But if we were to sack him, within this 3-year period, because he has got a 3-year contract, then obviously, we would have to pay something in compensation to get rid of him. Can't estimate how much we'd pay, but we'd obviously have to pay something. But I don't think it'd solve problems anyway. Getting rid of him now. We can't persistently keep sacking managers. Because we've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. But not all of the blame stems from Solskjaer anyway. I think certain players have got to take responsibility. Like I've said, a lot of the blame stems from the board and Ed Woodward. So like I've said, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. without a shadow of a doubt. But it'll be interesting to see, who we can recommend into the football club next year. Obviously, we've got Colchester coming up. That's on Wednesday in the Cowbell Cup quarter final. We obviously know should win that, so we should progress to the Cowbell Cup semi-finals. We have obviously got a great chance of winning that. And we've got games coming up thick and fast in the league. We've got Watford, coming up. We've got Newcastle on Boxing Day, Burnley, Arsenal on New Year's Day. So games are coming up thick and fast. The good news is that players are coming back from injury. Solskjaer revealed in his press conference prior to the Everton game that Paul Pogba, Eric Bailly and Fosu Mensah will all be in training this week, and that, as you all know, Paul Pogba has been out with an ankle injury. He's been out with this injury for 3 months. Solskjaer did confirm when he is back from, when he does regain full fitness, he will get loads of games under his belt. But you can say he has been big missing that midfield. So hopefully he can be involved against Colchester. But if he doesn't play against Colchester, then should play against Watford. Bay's been out with an knee injury. He hasn't played since pre-season. Fosu Mensah has also been out with an knee injury. We've got Diego Dalot out. Don't know when we're expected to see him back into the team, but he sustained quite a few injuries this season. Jesse Lingard has just recovered from a knock. Obviously, his injury wasn't severe, but it reflects on the amount of injuries we've had this season anyway. Solskjaer has made a lot of alterations in the squad, tried a few different elements. A prime example has tried a few different formations this season. On a regular basis this season, he's mainly gone with that 4-2-3-1 formation, but a couple of the times, he's gone with like 3 at the back. He went with 3 at the back against Liverpool. He went with 3 at the back against Partizan Belgrade, 3 at the back against Sheffield United. So he's tried a few different formations, but for me, Solskjaer isn't the right manager for Manchester United and that. And Solskjaer has now been here a year, almost a year if it isn't a year, but it's almost a year anywhere. Solskjaer got recommended into the football club in December of last year, following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. And obviously, at the first he came in as the interim manager, and Solskjaer, of course, did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. He exceeded expectations. The results were good. The performances were good. He was getting the best out of these group of players. But since he got the job permanently in March, everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong. And I've analysed it, during this 9-month period. And, he's mainly endured a very difficult time. And I think that was one of the mistakes we did make, was, giving Mulligan and Solskjaer the job. That was definitely one mistake we did make. But yeah, so he's been permanent manager now for around 9 months, and it's been recently confirmed that Solskjaer officially has a worse record than what Jose Mourinho had. Jose Mourinho, of course, endured a 2.5-year tenure at the football club. I give you the variety of reasons why his managerial tenure at Man United didn't work out, because Mourinho obviously had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with the top players. The board weren't backing the signings that I wanted to recommend into the football club last summer. So these are the reasons it didn't work out under him. Mourinho did win the Europa League, like I said, in the League Cup in his first season with Man United, but I haven't seen any improvements under Solskjaer than what I saw under Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, and of course David Moyes. Some people are saying if we can, give Solskjaer the time he's demanding from the club, if we can give him another 3 or 4 years, then maybe he will emulate into Alex Ferguson. But very sceptical about it. I can't see Solskjaer invoking Ferguson's legacy to save him at the football club. I think regardless of who our manager is anywhere, we'll never be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson and that. So no one basically, will follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. No one will follow Alex Ferguson's legacy and all that. It definitely nowhere won't happen. I think we've got to get rid of Solskjaer and that. There has been a few managers on our agenda who could replace him. Obviously, there's been Mauricio Pochettino on our agenda. We've been long admirers of Mauricio Pochettino because we was in for Mauricio Pochettino. After the sacking of Jose Mourinho last year, he was actually our primary candidate, but our preference was Solskjaer over Pochettino because obviously, Solskjaer was a cheaper solution. We didn't really have to pay that much to Mull to recommend him in. And plus, he did really, really well on an interim basis in that 3 month period. So we decided, obviously, to keep Solskjaer on. Pochettino's been linked with a lot of clubs. Obviously, there's been talks about him going to Arsenal. Don't see that happening. Bayern Munich have held negotiations with him. Real Madrid, I think, have been in for him as well. I don't think we'd have to pay anything to recommend Pochettino in now, as he's managerless, but I think he's totally comparison to Solskjaer, and I think he would be the right candidate for Man United and that. Don't forget, he said the other week that he wanted to become Man United's next manager. There's also been a lot of speculation regarding Massimiliano Allegri in that, but, we will see what happens. But I can definitely assure Solskjaer, will still be here in January. Probably, still will be here at the end of the season, but I don't see him, seeing out his 3-year contract at the club. But you got to say, Solskjaer's inheriting a good squad. Like I said, take into account, the amount of money that's been invested into the football club over the years. In all the managerial eras since the Ferguson era, a lot of money's been spent, and that's not taking into account what was spent under the Ferguson era, and we've also got players on big contracts at the club. But I've got to say, prior to the Everton game, we was, the momentum was very, very good in that, and I was very, very delighted. I saw a variety of changes. I thought there were a lot of aspects of our game that improved. We was creating more chances. We were scoring more goals and was being clinical in front of goal. Certain players stepped up to the plate, which I was also very delighted about. But I think, Rashford's done well in his last 10 games at least. Martial's done well in the games he's played in this season. I think McTominay and Fred have complemented each other fantastically well in our midfield. I think Maguire's done well in our back line. You've got to say he's addressed our defensive deficiencies. Wan-Bissaka has been absolutely immense, So we have got a really, really good team. But we're adamant that we're not good enough to win the league at the moment. I think we're definitely good enough for a top 4 finish, but we're not good enough to win the league. We haven't won the league since 2013, so that's 7 years ago now. So we haven't won it, for it's almost 7 years, isn't it? We haven't won it. But I think our aspirations anyway will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. But for us to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, we've got to, get the right calibre players into Manchester United next year. I've obviously, given you an update on the transfer news, haven't I, recently, regarding Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho. They are our 2 main priority targets, going into January. So I think, they will dramatically improve the squad. I think Jadon Sancho, if he came in, he'd add more width on that right-hand side because he's primarily a winner. And I think if Erling Haaland came in, he would be able to assure us goals in that. And don't forget, Erling Haaland anywhere has played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance. But I still got to say, we've had some good games under Solskjaer. Probably, the worst game we've had under the Solskjaer era is probably the 4-0 defeat to Everton last season at Goodison Park. And obviously, Solskjaer, came out after that game and actually, apologised. So I credit him for that. I think our biggest away win under the Solskjaer era was the 5-1 win against Cardiff. Obviously, in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game. Don't forget, Solskjaer managed Cardiff for a short period of time. Obviously, got sacked by Cardiff after 29-30 games because he actually got Cardiff relegated. And like I said, we've got a lot of experienced players in our squad. We've got a lot of young upcoming players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve. But I can assure that the young players, well, some of the young players will become a succession at the football club. Got to say, I've been impressed with Greenwood. I've been impressed with Brandon Williams. I'd say now he's our first choice left back. I've been impressed with Tuan Zebe in the games he's played in. I've been impressed with James Garner. But I've got some element of concerns about some of the young upcoming players as well. But yeah. So that's mainly everything to update you with. So I just wanted to give you the latest news on the draw for the Europa League. I'll mention it again. We have been drawn against Club Brugge. We play them at Jan Bredel on the 20th of February, and the second leg is on the 27th of February at Old Trafford. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.